Ark Raiders has a lot to keep track of. Systems, mechanics, loot, and enemies to deal with. This can very quickly become overwhelming if you don't know what to prioritize, how to deal with the Ark, what materials to keep, and what you need to do in raid. I'm going to go over the items you'll encounter when you first log in, and how to deal with all this during your time in Speranza. Whether you are brand new or have some experience, I have something in here for everyone. First are the systems you'll see at the menu screens. The workshop is where you can craft supplies, ammo, weapons, equipment, and upgrade weapons with the required workbenches. Here you will also find Scrappy, who will bring you materials periodically. There are 7 workbenches at your disposal. Utility station for equipment, workbench for your basic needs, gunsmith for weapons and attachments, medical lab for healing items, gear bench for shields and augments, explosive station for grenades and mines, and refiner for crafting higher tier materials. I recommend focusing on unlocking the medical lab, gear bench, and refiner first. The workbench you start with allows you to craft ammo, light grenades, and basic medical supplies, along with some weapons. Once you unlock the medical lab, you can upgrade it to craft better heals. The gear bench will allow you to craft shields and augments, upgrading giving you access to craft better quality versions. The refiner gives you the ability to craft rarer materials you need using more common ones. After these, or before doing the refiner, I would do the gunsmith, as this will allow you to upgrade your weapons as well as craft attachments. Traders are where you will receive and turn in quests and serve as vendors. Celeste offers wares that you'll need for crafting your basic healing items, ammo, some explosives, and some materials you'll need for upgrading your weapons. All her wares cost seeds, which you can find topside as loot in containers. Some of her items are limited quantity and will restock after an allotted time has passed, which can be seen in the top right. Security, you can buy items like binoculars and, most importantly, the Raider hatch keys, which are used for quick extraction points. These are sold in limited quantities and restock after a set period, again indicated in the top right. Raider hatch keys can also be found as loot topside. The gun shop sells weapons, ammo, and weapon attachments. Some, like the other traders, are limited quantities on refresh timers. The clinic offers shields, healing items, shield replenishment, and augments. You can trade in the free loadout augments you get from extracting with a free loadout for other augments. I will explain what these are shortly. Grenades and gadgets is where, surprise surprise, you can buy grenades and gadgets. Things like flares, impact grenades, radar sensors, smokes, door blockers, and more. Once again, some items are offered in limited quantities with restock timers. It's best to craft items instead of buying them, until you get loads of coins of course. If you are going to buy items, buying the rare shields, defibs if you play with a team, and the rare healing and shield replenishment items on cooldown is a good idea. They offer way more than the ones you can craft at level 1, so they're good for when you want to do PvP or take on strong Ark. I also recommend buying the Raider hatch keys when they are available. The Raider tab is where you can access your skill tree, character customization, trials, projects, and codex. You can ignore trials and projects for a while. Trials are challenges with rewards and leaderboards. Although some of the rewards are helpful, not something you want to focus on until you have an understanding of the game and a stash built up. Projects is part of Ark Raiders' wipe mechanic and is not available until level 20. The codex is where all the information you discover is stored. Character customization, obviously, is where you can customize your character's looks and outfits. The skill tree is where you can spend skill points earned by leveling up to increase skills and stats of your character. There are 3 trees: conditioning, mobility, and survival. Conditioning focuses on things like shields not affecting your speed as much, stamina gain when injured, more melee damage to arc, and breaching doors and containers faster. Mobility has nodes to increase your climbing and vaulting speed, your max stamina, actions costing less stamina, and regenerating stamina while walking. Survival offers increased benefits to crouching, in-raid crafting, less stamina loss while encumbered, defusing of mines, breach containers others can't, and the chance to get more loot while looting. Take a look into all the nodes and see what you want to focus on. For me, I focus on mobility for the stamina upgrades and the conditioning for armor and weapons having less of an effect on my weight. I will probably put some points into survival as well to unlock the in-raid crafting. Raider decks are Embark's version of a battle pass. You complete sets of rotating daily challenges called feats. Completing them will give you cred, the currency used for purchasing items in the Raider deck pages. Things like cosmetic items, weapon attachments, and weapon packages. The feats can mostly be done passively while you play. Sometimes though, you might need to go out of your way to complete one. Lastly, the inventory tab. Here is where everything you collect is stored. You can sort by item type via the nodes on the left side of the inventory, and in the upper right, you can upgrade your stash with coins. Coins are earned via quests and selling items. On the right side of this screen is your loadout. Whatever you put in here is what you will take into the raid with you. Your loadout starts with an augment. The type and rarity of an augment determines how much backpack space you have, safe pocket slots, weight capacity, and what tier shield you should bring. There are 4 types of augments that we know of. The combat augment, which offers decent backpack space and allows you to use up to the rare shield while using the uncommon variant of this augment. Looting augments don't allow the use of very good shields, but offer a higher weight capacity and more backpack slots. Tactical augments have smaller backpack space, but more slots for tactical equipment and allows the use of decent shields. The free loadout augments come from free loadouts. They offer very limited backpack space, no safe pocket, and only the use of uncommon shields as well as a low weight capacity. Upon a successful extraction with a free loadout, you can trade the free loadout augment in for an uncommon version of the other 3 augments at the clinic. After you've selected your augment, choose a shield. There are currently 3 to choose from: light, medium, and heavy. Shields do not block all damage. They mitigate a percentage. The higher you go in tier, the more mitigation it offers, and the more durability it will have. As your shield takes damage, it will lose durability. Once that durability hits 0, you will no longer be able to replenish it. You will have to repair it at the loadout screen after your raid to raise its durability back, making it usable again. Next, choose what weapons you will take. There are pistols, shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, snipers, LMGs, and more. These can be categorized into 5 ammo types: light, shotgun, medium, heavy, and energy. Light weapons are good in close range PvP, but don't do very well against most of the Ark. Shotguns excel in close range encounters, doing very good damage to players as well as unarmored Ark enemies within close proximity. Medium, good for close to medium PvP engagements, but still not super effective against the Ark. Heavy is very good against both players and the Ark at any range, but due to their slow firing, it is not best to push those close range fights with them. Weapons that use heavy ammo are slow firing but hit very hard. Energy does very well against the Ark. After you've selected your weapons, throw some ammo on and then take some healing items and whatever grenades and gadgets you want to use. Placing them in the slots on the far right will allow you to use them via a wheel in raid. Items will show up in the wheel top to bottom from the left slot on. Free loadouts are an option you can select when going into a raid instead of taking your own loadout. You will receive a basic weapon, some ammo, bandages, and a grenade and/or gadget. Free loadouts are great for learning the maps, and if used right, you can take out a more geared player and come out with a whole new loadout. Whether using your own loadout or a free loadout, you can complete quests and feats. Leaving the menus, it's time to get into a raid. To launch a raid, first decide if you're going in with a pre-made squad of friends, random fill, or solo. If you queue up solo by selecting no fill, you will be placed against other solos. Once this decision has been made, press play and select the map you wish to play on. Right away, not all the maps will be available. You will have to unlock more as you progress. Each map has rotating events, such as queen spawns, electromagnetic storms, night raids, rough weather, and more. Once you've loaded in, you will spawn at one of the various spawn points. From here, you will have the whole map to explore. The goal with raids is to collect loot, kill Ark and other players if you choose, and then extract before the timer hits 0. If you are still topside when the timer hits 0, you will be killed and lose everything on you. So where do you get loot? Well, loot is everywhere, on the ground, in containers, in buildings, and on the Ark. Opening your map, you will see areas zoned off by color and some icons on them. The color indicates the abundance of loot and danger. The higher the zone, the more loot you'll find and higher chances of higher tier loot. with a stronger Ark presence. White being the lowest risk and least reward. Yellow having decent loot and a good amount of Ark defending it. And red yields the highest rewards with the most danger. The icons indicate the type of loot abundant in that area. There is nature, industrial, security, Ark, commercial, technological, medical, mechanical, residential, and electrical. Each type of loot has a use, whether it be upgrades, crafting, repairs, or selling for money. On top of the different loot types, there are rarities: common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. The higher the rarity, the more they sell for, and as you progress in the game, you will need these higher rarities for specific upgrades and items to craft. These can also be recycled into lesser rarity items of that item type. You can recycle items in and out of raid, but if you recycle in raid, you will get less items for recycling. So although this is great for lightening the load, you won't get the full benefit of recycling the item. There are various containers you can find loot in. Some have designated types of loot they drop, like grenade tubes have grenades, weapon cases have weapons and attachments, ammo cases hold ammo, and medical bags hold medical items. Sometimes you have to do things to get to loot, like unlocking locked rooms with keys found around the map, or delivering a crate to a field depot. Depots are marked on the map as such. When you find a field crate on the ground with the option to pick it up, you can take it to these for loot. You'll find ammo, heals, grenades, etc. You can also find raider caches, which hold ammo, heals, shields, and weapons. When you start hearing a ticking like this, follow it. The louder it is, the closer you are. There's also Ark husks that you can breach, providing some of the loot you'd get for downing an Ark. Everything from wasps to Baron husks. There are probes and couriers you can breach to get Ark components, and you can also call in care packages via supply call stations. These will drop after a short amount of time and hold ammo, weapons, and throwables. As mentioned before, the Ark also drop loot. Their loot pool varies depending on which Ark you take down. The parts most all of them have in common is Ark alloy and Ark power cells. Both of these are used for crafting specific items, but the Ark power cells have another use. They can be used to replenish your shields. Although not as strong as other shield replenishing items, still very useful, especially on a free loadout run. Each Ark also drops a part specific to it. Most of these items are just for crafting purposes, but some can be used in other ways. The snitch scanner can be thrown at players, calling Ark in on top of them. The fireball burner can be thrown at other players or Ark as a Molotov. The hornet driver can stun Ark and other players. The wasp driver can be used as an explosive that you shoot to set off. And the leaper pulse unit causes a massive explosion. Some Ark go down with ease, others are much harder to kill. The ticks, fireballs, and pops can be killed easily with every ammo type. Snitches, depending on how far away they are, can go down with relative ease with any gun as long as you shoot off their 3 stabilizers. The wasp and hornets can also take more time and ammo if not using heavy or energy. When fighting these two, aim for their rotors. Taking these out will cause them to spiral and eventually hit the ground. The surveyor doesn't pose much threat. As long as you dodge its dashes, it can't hurt you. But they take a lot of shots to bring down. Or you can use some grenades. The leaper poses a large threat. If you choose to take this one on, you need heavy ammo. Do not attempt to take it on with any less. Go for its legs when fighting it. The bastion, again, you need heavy ammo. Aim for its yellow kneecaps and the yellow cylinder on the rear. Everyone's worst enemy, the rocketeer. Heavy ammo is highly recommended, and aim for the rotors to bring it down. No matter the size of the Ark, the showstopper grenades are great for stunning them shortly to get away or put in some damage. I have not had a lot of interaction with the spotter or the bombardier, but the spotter is similar to the snitch and the bombardier to the bastion, except it launches mortars into the air. Once you've completed what you went in for, you need to extract. Most extracts are open to all. You simply go up to them and activate them via a console. Then wait for them to arrive. Once inside, use a second console and you're safe. You can ride these extracts with other teams as well. These extracts are on time limits. On your map, you'll see a timer on them, so make sure to take note of what's open before you head to one. Another way to extract is raider hatches. These are always available, but require a raider hatch key to activate. Once activated, they open instantly, but move fast because they won't stay open very long. Now that you've got a good understanding of the game's mechanics and systems, I want to go over some tips on what items you should be looking to keep, ways to increase survival, places to avoid, recommended loadouts, and more to help you during your time in Speranza. There is a huge amount of items in this game, and it can be overwhelming trying to figure out what to keep, what to sell, and what to recycle. For the most part, I'm going to be covering what you'll need in the early game, and we'll have a video out down the road going over all the loot and its uses. To determine what you need to keep, check the benches for what materials are needed to build them and then upgrade them. This changes depending on the bench, so decide which ones you want to focus first, then look for those items. I recommend keeping metal parts, rubber, chemicals, and plastic parts, as these are used to craft ammo, some augments, weapons, and impact grenades, as well as some being used for weapon upgrades. Keep fabric to craft bandages, and Ark power cells to craft shield rechargers. Ark alloy is used in upgrades as well as shield crafting. Mechanical components and simple gun parts are important for repairing your weapons. Both can be found as loot on Ark or by recycling other weapons. Arc circuitry and batteries are used for repairing your shields. There is of course uses for every material, but at the start of the game, these are the materials you really want to prioritize keeping to keep yourself stocked and ready to go at all times. Sell the valuables for money, except those that you need to upgrade Scrappy. You can always click recycle on higher tier items and see what they recycle into and decide if you want to do that or sell them, or even keep them for later down the road when you're going to need them. Even in a full squad, I recommend avoiding Ark like the Rocketeer, Leaper, Bastion, and Bombardier until you have better guns and equipment to take them on. They are very strong and you don't want to be stuck in a long fight with them, as another team is likely to attack you while you're preoccupied. If you do decide to take them on, bring showstoppers. You can easily bring down the Rocketeer and get on top of it and even flip it sometimes, making for easy takedowns. Wolf packs are another solid option as they do great damage to the Ark. An important factor in this game is planning. Never go into a raid to just aimlessly wander around. Always have a plan in place. Whether you're going in specifically to do quests and feats, take down larger Ark, hit high tier loot spots, stock up on supplies, or just going for PvP. I always try to have at least 2 plans before going into a raid. The first being the primary goal I want to achieve, but I always have a second in case I get done with the first and have more time, it gets derailed by other players, or I spawn on the complete opposite end of the map. During Tech Test 2, I had no plan my first few raids and ended up with a very empty stash. So I decided to go in and just learn the maps. After that, it was to loot specific areas I had found, then taking down the Ark. The server slam went much better. I started off with a plan and had completed all the server slam had, max level, and had a full stash the first day. If you're not a fan of PvP or don't have a good understanding of the combat yet, I'd wait to hit the higher tier areas. Yes, the loot is good, but you're fighting more Ark and guaranteed to have to deal with players. The loot isn't worth it if you're dead before you even get out of the building. Starting off, you won't have a lot of weapons and gear, but some of the lower tier weapons are actually very good. It is recommended to go in with 2 weapons. In case you're in a close range fight and run out of ammo for 1 weapon, having 1 for arc and or longer range shots, and stuff like that. I like to run the Pharaoh with a Stitcher. The Pharaoh does a great job against the Ark and can deal great damage to players at any range. The Stitcher is great for those close range fights with players. When in a PvP engagement, I'll use the Pharaoh until within the range of a Stitcher. Not only will this keep the players from pushing you if you're hitting your shots, but landing a Pharaoh shot and then quickly following up with the Stitcher close range will end things very quickly. Once I have some, I prefer to run the Anvil over the Pharaoh. When going into a raid, it's best to have 2 stacks of ammo for each weapon, 5 bandages, 3 to 5 shield rechargers, and 5 impact grenades. The impact grenades can one-tap Ark all the way up until the Hornets. Plus, they're very good for damaging players that are behind cover. Very soon, I will be dropping a survival guide, weapons guide, and more. So if you're looking for guides, tips, and everything Ark Raiders, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and good luck topside.